Here we go. Check, check, check. Yep. Thanks, sir. How's that?
All right, try this again. All right, again, thank you all for coming this morning. This is really a heartbreaking situation that we're here to talk about this morning, results of an incident that occurred overnight. Again, my name is Deputy Inspector Patrick Esser. I'm going to go over some of the facts as it relates to this incident, and then I'm going to turn the lectern over to Sheriff Severson, the Waukesha County Sheriff, and Sheriff Schulteis, the Washington County Sheriff. So first, some of the facts that we'll talk about this morning are as it relates to a pursuit after a traffic stop that resulted in a rollover crash. It was a single vehicle crash. One of our deputies was out on the interstate and observed a vehicle, developed probable cause to stop the vehicle, and ultimately attempted to stop the vehicle. The vehicle initially stopped, and before the deputy could make contact, the driver fled the scene at a high rate of speed. So that deputy and another deputy began pursuing the suspect vehicle for a short distance, at which point the suspect vehicle completely on its own crashed, which resulted in a rollover of the vehicle and the death of 2 minors that were in the vehicle. The vehicle itself contained 6 occupants. The driver was a 25-year-old male who's currently at Aurora Summit in critical but stable condition. There's a 29-year-old female passenger who's also at Aurora Summit in stable condition. The 4 passengers were all juveniles. 2 of them were 10-year-old males, both of which are deceased. There's a 14-year-old female who's currently at Children's Hospital. She was taken by ambulance, but it's unknown the current status of her condition. And there was a 6-year-old female in the car as well, who's taken 2 children by Flight for Life. Given the facts of the circumstances as it relates to this incident and the sensitive nature, we want to make sure that we're providing you with as much information as we can. So I'd like to introduce Sheriff Eric Severson to speak more detailed in regards to this incident.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate you walking through some of the details of the events of last night and early this morning. The word tragedy is overused. This is a horrific traffic crash. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the lost children. This is an incredibly difficult event to learn about. It's a difficult event for us to have law enforcement at the scene. We've asked the investigators of the Washington County Sheriff's Office to conduct a review of the incident in an effort to provide the greatest transparency that we can. In addition, we're going to be looking at the incident from a policy and procedural standpoint to make sure that we've done our job as well as we can. This kind of situation is preventable. When law enforcement officers get involved in pursuits, it's because people choose to elude us. We don't take any actions that would provoke somebody to run from us. We maintain the highest professional standards so people have trust in what we do. And so the fact that 2 children lost their lives this morning as a result of really bad decision making is very saddening to all of us. I want to emphasize that the investigation has been going on for a few hours. Our initial look at the situation, it appears that we have no evidence to believe that laws were violated on behalf of the sheriff's deputies involved or policies. It looks like they did their job right. We will rely on the investigators from the Washington County Sheriff's Office to assist in that matter and provide a thorough review of all of the events. I want to thank the Wisconsin State Patrol, who is going to be conducting the traffic crash investigation and reconstruction. Sheriff Schulteis is with us today, and we're both available for questions when we're done here, but I appreciate the fact that he is taking this investigation on. And we also had assistance from the Village of Pewaukee Police Department, the Village of Heartland, City of Delafield, Village of Shaniqua, Lake County Fire Department, Heartland Fire Department, and also Flight for Life assisted us in that matter. Again, I want to emphasize that this didn't need to happen. We struggle in our communities to make sure that the roads are safe, that we're enforcing the law, and we want to do everything that we can to not have these kinds of situations take place. As we've reviewed this, it appears that the driver of the vehicle fled at such a high rate of speed that my deputies weren't even in visual contact during the crash. My deputies never got near the vehicle at the initial attempt to stop the vehicle before it took off. So we didn't even have a chance to make contact with the driver. Again, the word tragedy is overused, but this is a horrific incident, and again, our hearts go out to the families. At this point, I would like to open it up if you have any questions. Again, we're going to try to give you as much as we can, with the understanding that there's an ongoing investigation.
Sheriff, can you explain the probable cause ahead of that traffic stop? What were they wanted for, or what was the reason for the original traffic stop?
Sure. As I understand it, the original reporting officer had noted that the person was traveling in excess of posted limits, so they were speeding, no plates on the vehicle. Obviously, the eluding after the initial attempt to stop is also a felony. I mean, tinted windows, but I mean, those answers aren't, none of that justifies the fleeing from law enforcement.
A follow-up, what was the relationship between the driver, the passenger, and the kids in the vehicle?
I don't have that information right now, but we'll see what we can do about providing that at a later time. Yes.
Can you repeat the two people the kids that died, the ages, were they both 10?
They were both 10.
Okay.
Thank you. Sir?
Do we have video footage that's being released? Or is it
No, there's no video on the squad. That car is not equipped with a squad cam. Thank you.
Can you just go through, we just want to make sure we get everything right. So two 10-year-old boys died at the scene. There was a 14-year-old girl, a 6-year-old girl. They're both at Children's. And then the driver and the passenger in the front seats are in critical but stable at the hospital?
Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Correct, yeah, the male is critical but stable, and the female is stable.
And the man was driving?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. And the 14-year-old?
We don't have a status on the 14-year-old, but she is at Children's Hospital
And the 6-year-old?
as well.
No status
No
on them, but
status
they're
on
both
them.
at Children's?
Correct.
Was this vehicle stolen, Sheriff?
No, not to our knowledge.
Were the two 10-year-olds, were they twins? That you know of?
I don't know that information.
So you mentioned the relationship, so we don't know if they were siblings, you don't know if the parent, you don't know the relationship of the people in the car?
Pat, do you know?
Yes, we do believe there was some relation, but we're still working with State Patrol in Washington County on identifying exact relationships.
And has family been notified?
Yes.
So I asked you about the potential traffic stop charges. What are the potential charges now that the crash has ended, the chase has ended as well?
So those would probably be coming from the State Patrol, but what we're looking at right now as possible, I want to emphasize possible, is 2 counts of fleeing and eluding causing death, 2 counts of reckless driving causing death, 2 counts of operating after suspension causing death, 2 counts of fleeing, eluding, causing great bodily harm, 2 counts of reckless driving causing great bodily harm, 2 counts of operating after suspension causing great bodily harm, and bail jumping.
So this person was theoretically wanted?
This person had an outstanding warrant.
For what?
Possession of felon in possession of a firearm, I believe. Pat is nodding his head.
That was the driver?
It's the driver.
Were any firearms or drugs recovered in the car?
I don't.
State Patrol.
State Patrol would have been taking inventory of the vehicle. I don't believe we searched the vehicle, so. If we find out that that's the case at the appropriate time, we'll be releasing supplemental news releases And I think, in addition to the one that we released this morning, which was very, very cursory, we have a supplemental release coming out that we're still in the process of putting some final details. So we'll probably have that, Pat, by 1, you think? Okay.
The two officers who were following the car, where are they at right now? Are they on leave, suspension, or yeah?
The officer that was involved in the original traffic stop, he's finished his tour. He's still on duty, and again, unless we make a determination that, you know, there's some policy violation, you know, he's not under any special status at this point. So I really am grateful that you came in. You know, this impacts a lot of people, and you know, public safety, the safety of our highways is always something that my constituents are very interested in us doing our job and maintaining a quality level of enforcement. And again, it's a very very terrible outcome, and it didn't have to be that way. Yes.
Were these Waukesha County residents?
Do you know the resident status? I don't have that. We'll see if we can add that to the supplement. So thanks for the question. All right, folks. Sheriff, did you have anything you want to add regarding your role in conducting?
Sure, I can briefly.
If you'd like. I mean, again, we're trying to be as transparent as we can.
Yeah, so as Sheriff Severson mentioned, there really are 3 investigations that are kind of occurring in parallel with this. The first is the actual accident investigation, which State Patrol is handling any subsequent violations there that the sheriff spoke to. The second is the independent investigation that the Washington County Sheriff's Office is handling, and that really is just looking at law enforcement's involvement in the events leading up to the collision. And that really occurs under state statute, I think it's 17547, where if there's an individual dies as a result of either directly or through the omission of a law enforcement, independent investigation shall be done. We are not saying at all that that's what occurred, that it was directly a result of, but as Sheriff Severson mentioned, in the spirit of transparency, independent law enforcement agency is asked to come in to provide that insight. Once our investigation is done, we'll sit down with the Waukesha County District Attorney's Office and provide them with that information. And then thirdly, as the sheriff mentioned, there's also the internal investigation that looks at the policies and the procedures internally. And a lot of times there's a kind of a cross between some of the information exchange, but the idea is that we're just to provide a independent oversight of the events. So I'll turn back over to Deputy Inspector if you have anything further.
Sheriff. So at this time, we're, again, just to reiterate what both sheriffs have said, this is an extremely heartbreaking event that we're reporting on this afternoon, and especially, you know, given the time of year and the holidays, our prayers go out to all the family involved of the victims, all the responding first responders that were out at this incident. So we just ask that everyone keep those families all in their prayers. And with that, I guess any final questions before we depart?
How long do the pursuit last for?
All that will come out later after the investigation's concluded. All right. Thank you all very much.
Somebody's phone.